I'll need to check my email, but I think I'd said I was going to start with Lawrence, if that's okay, Lawrence, from Scottish Enterprise.
Yeah, of course, no problem. Hi, everyone. I'm just going to share my slides if I can remember how to do it. Excuse me. Hopefully you can all see the slides. Maybe somebody could just shout out if they can see them.
Yeah, that's good. You may
Cool.
want to
Yep.
play the slideshow just to get it full screen.
Yeah, that should be full screen now. I have it full screen at this side. Can you not see it
It's
full
fine.
screen?
We can see it fine, but it's not.
Yep. Okay.
The slideshow's not playing. That'd be fine.
That's strange. I'll just.
Okay.
So yeah, my name is Lawrence Jameson. I work for Scottish Enterprise. Excuse me. I'm in what's called the financial readiness team within the investment side of the business. So my role really is to work with companies of all sizes, be it startups or early stage companies looking to scale up in size, or even large and mature companies, and really help them identify the appropriate funding for the business, help them with the paperwork that they might need to put together to approach investors or the bank or whatever, and then just handhold, I guess, and signpost companies through that sort of process and discussions with investors and lenders and so on. So I thought I'd really just cover off. I know we've got sort of small amount of time. Cover off three sort of key points from an SE funding point of view that you might be interested in. Signposting is a lot of what we do. Pointing companies to the right place to look for financial support. People may not be aware that there's a website that the Scottish Government put together and keep sort of current on a daily basis, called Finding Business Support. So I'm a big advocate of this because it saves me an awful lot of trawling around trying to find things myself. The website is great. You just tell it basically what you're looking for, financial support, for example, and it will come back with all sorts of options on a sort of local authority level right the way up. So if you're located in West Dunbartonshire and looking for support there, then it will take you to the appropriate sections within the local authority there to say, well, this is what you could be looking at. And, as I say, other things which are pan-Scotland availability. From an SE point of view, we have YouTube videos as well, all about raising finance, whether that's debt finance or bringing new shareholders into the business by way of equity. So we tend to signpost a lot of people to that because it's very useful and great content. And I guess what we always highlight, certainly at the moment, is that a lot of focus from an SE point of view, and indeed from a Scottish Government point of view, is about three key sort of tenors, which is job creation, the low carbon or the green agenda, and exporting. And a lot of it, what SE does, focuses on these three key areas. So when we get to grants, for example, and I've mentioned something called the Regional Selective Assistance Grant. That's a grant that's available to help businesses scale up and take on staff, to help them grow the business, and potentially available to help pay part of the payroll, the increase in payroll for bringing these people onto the business. But as part of that process, the company will be asked to focus on, what's your green agenda story? What do you do by way of exporting? So it's really about tying in with that Scottish Government sort of aspirations around, growing Scotland PLC internationally and growing our expertise, particularly around things low carbon. So I mentioned the RSA grant there, which has been a predominant grant that's been available for probably the last 10, 15 years. It was switched off for a couple of years, but I'm pleased to say it's now available again. And I can recommend people go to Finding Business Support and stick in Regional Selective Assistance, and that'll take you straight to the appropriate web page to find out a bit more. Unfortunately, other grants within SC are a bit limited at the moment. It's always, as we get towards the end of the financial year, the budgets tend to run out, but we're hoping that come the 1st of April, more and more grants will be available again. And again, the Finding Business Support website is the sort of point of truth there to find out which grants may be available for you. And there are grants in there that are competitive. So we have a small suite of grants that are non-competitive. You might be able to unlock, let's just say, a £50,000 CapEx grant or something like that. But larger scale grants tend to be competitive, where you have to put your best foot forward, fill an application form in, and apply for that grant. And once everyone's applied for it and the window shuts, then those applications are assessed, and the winners, I guess you could say, get the grants that are available. It's usually quite a restricted pot, but again, the Finding Business Support website would take you to all the grants that are available. There's one available at the moment, for example, called the Low Carbon Manufacturing Challenge Fund. So manufacturers, unsurprisingly, that are doing things that are going to reduce their carbon footprint or capture CO2, whatever it is, can apply for some grants there. But I thought I would just very quickly cover off equity as well. A lot of what we do in Scottish Enterprises is what we call gap funding. So, equity is all about selling shares in your business to a third party. And where you're looking for a certain amount of money and you haven't been able to get all that money from the private sector, SE may be able to co-invest alongside that private sector investor to close that funding gap for you. So, we do quite a lot of work around equity. We have about 300 or so active investments in companies right across Scotland, from all sorts of sectors and all sorts of backgrounds. So something we do a lot of. Sorry,
can I just interrupt, Lawrence? Are your slides meant to be changing? Because I think we're still stuck on the first one.
Oh, are you? It should be on the second one.
I think you might have. All right, I can see your pointer. Maybe that's
how's
why.
that?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's you.
I was doing the full screen, so maybe that's why it wasn't working. So
okay.
Sorry. So I'll let you guys catch up and read those while I tell you a wee bit about equity. So as I say, it's about selling shares in the business. What we just really wanted to highlight is that a lot of what I see in my role dealing with early stage businesses or businesses looking to scale up and bring external investment in is they often take the first offer, and it's what I would say not necessarily the right one to take. I think the key point is finding the right investor for your business and making sure that they bring more than just the money. They bring some value add, whether that's strategically or being able to introduce business to you or introduce contacts to you. That's the kind of investor you want to bring on board, not just somebody that comes with some cash and doesn't actually help you grow the business. So that's really the point I wanted to make there. And as I say, SE has co-investment that's available in the situation where the private sector hasn't been able to find all the money that you need. And then my last slide was really just to highlight these websites. So I've mentioned Finding Business Support. This is the Scottish Enterprise website. And there's also a very good, albeit slightly out of date, document called the Scottish Entrepreneurial Ecosystem, which lists lots of other support mechanisms available, from accelerators to incubators to free spaces in Glasgow or Edinburgh or Aberdeen, whatever, for hosting meetings and stuff like that. So it's a wee bit out of date, but I think it's useful nevertheless. And worth the read. So that's the link for that one. And that's really all I was going to say.
Fantastic. No, thanks, Lawrence. Some real insights there. We'll have an opportunity if anyone's got any specific questions at the end as well. But I was just going to ask there, obviously, you'd mentioned coming to the end of the year and obviously the RSA being in place, but you had touched just sort of speaking to Elizabeth actually about a company that's got some interest in some of these areas, and particularly is the CapEx grant available now? Is that one that will maybe in April?
Yeah, I think it'll be available post year end. There was a relatively small pot available, which was very quickly sort of used up. Okay. And what we have been doing, to our credit, I guess, is that what we tend to find is applications come in, and lots of people put their hands up and say, I'd like that, but actually don't follow through on the process. And maybe for whatever reason, we don't actually complete on the grant. So we're trying to identify these cases and close them down, because we know that they're not going to progress, and make the budget available for other companies then to apply for. So we're going through that process on a sort of weekly basis, to be honest. It's not throwing up an awful lot now, but we'll continue to do that into the financial year, just to make sure that we're managing the budgets to get the best out of them.
Cool. No, it's really useful. Well, hopefully we'll be able to pass on one of our members to you to have at least have a conversation about some of these areas. And I guess it's better to be prepared for when they do come through.
Absolutely. And to be honest, the Finding Business Support website is great, because you can actually put in, I think, alerts into the system, so that if you're looking for a specific type of funding or a specific type of support, it'll actually email you to tell you that something new has been added to the website.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll definitely be sharing. Well, we share that quite a lot, but we'll be sort of highlighting that as a result of this. So thank you very much, Lawrence. Anyone else got any burning questions on that? And we will have a general question at the end. Okay. So
Stuart had his hand up, Damon, I think.
Okay, Stuart, did you?
No, I didn't. Sorry, I was just moving my hand about.
Stuart Anderson.
Yeah, hello, it's Stuart Anderson here. Hi, Lawrence. I'm a consultant and accountant, and I wondered if your support is available for valuing and selling companies. I've got two clients, one in hospitality and one in retail, that's looking for a buyer just now.
Yeah, it's a very good point, and unfortunately, Stuart, it's not something we tend to be able to fund. It's one of these costs that is deemed to be the cost of running your business. So it's what we have is, albeit not right now, but hopefully in come into the end of March, beginning of April, we will have a grant for financial readiness that will cover the cost of companies preparing business plans and pitch decks to allow them to go out to speak to investors. But unfortunately, that valuation question is deemed to be a transaction cost, and as a result, we can't fund it.
Right.
Okay. Useful. As I said, we'll be connecting people in, so we can sort of follow up if anything comes up. Something a lot of you involved in sort of projects and have a client base, so it's not necessarily right now. So thanks. Anyone else before we move on to the next speaker? No. Okay. Thanks for that. So I've got my order slightly mixed up. We were going to have a business gateway, but I think I'm going to need to share Elizabeth's slides for that one. So I'll maybe start with you, Elizabeth, so I can try and figure out my slide sharing thing.
Well, I was just going to try actually again, because I think it's just occurred to me, I don't think I actually pressed share screen, so I'm going to try again. Fingers crossed. Does that work?
Better.
Oh, good. Okay. I knew there was something. Blame the tools. Okay. I'll just start from the beginning. Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay, so for those of you that don't know me, I'm Elizabeth Hendry, and I'm a business support officer or a business gateway growth advisor, and we cover West Dunbartonshire. So really what I was planning on doing was just doing a very quick whistle-stop tour on all the support that we provide mainly within West Dunbartonshire, which unfortunately does limit the businesses that we can work with in terms of our grant support. But I'll then go on to touch on some of the support through Business Gateway, which is more national, but I know that East Dunbartonshire will touch on that as well. So apologies if I cover anything that Charles is about to talk about. But anyway, I'll move through this quite quickly. So yes, I work within a team of the 3 gateway advisors. We all look at kind of growth support, and there's one startup advisor within West Dunbartonshire, and we have an office space at Titan Enterprise and Clydebank. The areas I'm just going to touch on very briefly is mainly just the grant support that we provide within West Dunbartonshire for West Dunbartonshire businesses, and then I'll touch a little bit on the gateway service, and I just mentioned a little bit about Digital Boost, which I think might be quite interesting to some of you. Okay, in terms of grant support, we are quite lucky in West Dunbartonshire. The grants is a kind of funding pot that's held within West Dunbartonshire Council, and there are a series of kind of small local grants, and they can be packaged up depending on what a business is looking for. We can work with most sectors and most sector sizes, although we do have a kind of limit. We would work with SMEs, but businesses that are maybe have employee numbers of anything over 250, we would tend not to work with. In terms of startup, we do have a startup grant of about £500, which can help generate or get a business idea off the ground. So that's quite a useful grant, really, to help kind of any startup costs. The idea behind that is the business, which we would help through Gateway, develops a business plan, really looks at the kind of market that they're aiming to operate within, understand you know, who their kind of local competition is and so on, and really just aims to get the business up and running. There's support there for the first kind of 12 months of operating through Gateway, but that's really the startup grant is to kind of help with this initial costs with doing that. The growth grants are more for businesses that have traction and that have been operating over kind of 12 months or more. We have a range of growth grants from covering areas of activity such as capital investment, businesses maybe looking to expand property that you know, through growth, if they're maybe looking at taking on more staff and so on. It can't be business as usual activity. It has to be something that's adding value to the business. Other areas such as digital investment, could be businesses looking at investing in new software or digital, a digital innovation type project, for example, or investing in capital that maybe allows them to function in a more a better or more improved digital capacity. And anything around innovation is something that we would be keen to support. So these grants tend to provide up to kind of 30% of project expenditure, but there is a cap at 3,000 less VAT. So any activity that maybe is looking at a spend of over £10,000 could maximise one of these grants. And as I say, we can look at kind of packaging that up as if there's a number of activities that a business is looking to undertake as part of growth. In terms of skills for business growth, that's a grant that actually assists with training costs for staff. So it might be if you're looking at taking on new staff or existing staff, as long as it's not legislative training or anything that's maybe required, you know, for health and safety springs to mind, or the typical kind of questions we get are things like kind of first aid and so on. But we wouldn't tend to support these. They're business as usual activity, but anything that's going to enhance the business, enhance the skill set within the business, and help make that business more competitive is something that we would look at supporting. We have assisted with things like ISO training. We've maybe supported consultancy costs towards that. And the grant for that is 50%. So it's a kind of higher level intervention up to, again, £3,000. So if business has a training grant or a training budget of about 6k, we can help fund kind of half of those costs per year, if you like. Energy and resource efficiency grant is another area that we're keen to support. We have a relationship with Business Energy Scotland, whereby they can provide free business energy reviews. And depending what maybe comes out of that review and action plan, there may be activity that perhaps this grant can help implement, you know, some of the costs towards. Typically, it could be anything from LED lighting. We've had a lot of inquiries about the electricity points for the hybrid electric vehicles, solar paneling. We would recommend, if a business is keen to start looking at resource efficiency type projects, that they do get expert advice in that area. And that's really why we have that relationship with Business Energy Scotland first and foremost, just to make sure that the funding is being spent in the right way, if you like. And it's all part of the bigger aspiration of assisting towards the net zero agenda on behalf of the government. We have a social enterprise growth grant, so we're keen to support the kind of third sector businesses, if you like. We have ran initiatives in the past looking at trying to encourage more social enterprises to set up and grow within West Dunbartonshire. So this is a growth grant that aims at kind of looking at the sustainability and helping these businesses sort of continue on their growth path. And there's an employer recruitment support which doesn't sit with ourselves, but we work closely with colleagues in the council under the Working for You team. I believe they have packages of support around modern apprenticeships and employment grants, and I've just included a link there which provides information and contact details for that team. I've just added a quick slide in here. Some of you might be aware of the UK government's Levelling Up agenda, which aims at providing 2.6 billion of new funding for local investment across the UK by March 25. Now, part of that is a UK Shared Prosperity Fund, which local authorities had the opportunity to bid for. In West Dunbartonshire, we have bid for a package of support, which we aim to launch around April this year. And that, at the moment, the kind of activities that we look at supporting will be things like business recovery and growth towards net zero, early stage growth. So for businesses that are probably just at that stage where they've just set up, but maybe not quite able to tap into the kind of smaller growth grants, they've maybe not been trading long enough, or they don't have the traction there. There'll maybe be a kind of bridging gap of growth funding for those early stage high level growth businesses. Another sector that we're looking at is the tourism sector, which is quite key for West Dunbartonshire, and also looking at this grant will be looking at supporting tourism businesses independently, but also looking at collaborative opportunities around events. So maybe businesses coming together to look at hosting events that aim at bringing more people into West Dunbartonshire and increasing revenue spend in the area. Quite a few key events happening this year. I think there's the UCI cycling, the World Championships event, I think is due to take place kind of Glasgow and span out across Lochend. So that's a huge key event that I believe just launched last week there. You'll see more marketing around that. So that's going to obviously be quite key for our area, bringing a lot of visitors and opportunities for businesses there. And we have a lot of local tourism type events that happen down and around Loch Lomond. So these are opportunities to try and help grow these sectors a little bit more and offer something that maybe the sector hasn't normally been able to tap into before. And finally, a shopfront and small business improvement grant. This is really going to be aimed more at the kind of retail sector, which previously many of our growth grants tends not to support. I would say reasons behind that is just that there can be a kind of displacement issue around the retail sector. So this will be a package of support that will look very much at supporting the retail sector going forward, and just see how we can help in terms of recovery, especially after things like the pandemic and so on. We feel that the support is justified. So this is 2 years support, and it will be available on a first come first served basis. As I say, it will launch around April, and the details for these are still being worked up at the moment and will operate until kind of March 25. And just a little bit about Business Gateway in general. As I say, we offer startup advisory. It's kind of advisory support without the funding. And as I say, Gateway is a national programme. It's a mix of workshops, online webinars and advice, and one-to-one kind of advisor support. We within West Dunbartonshire work with existing and startup businesses. We provide a local contact and also act as the kind of general key contact, if you like, for those businesses, and also a referral body to partners. We work very closely with Scottish Enterprise currently on the growth side, and we also can provide local expert help, if you like. So we have a list of local consultants that we have procured, and we can, if there's a particular area of support that a business would like on a one-to-one, for example, strategy review and development, things like intellectual property, sales and marketing, looking at developing a strategy around that. Funding advice, we can pull in experts to really sit down with that business and kind of tailor that support, if you like. So that's another area that we tend to offer. I've included a link in there for the workshops, and I would encourage businesses to have a look at that. We used to run workshops within locations, but now we're in the magical world of being online and everything has gone digital. So really you can access any event now, it doesn't matter where you're based. And I'll just hop on very quickly to an example. This is this week's webinars, which are live at the moment, and it just gives you an idea and a flavour of the types of workshops that are free to attend. So if there's anything, these change on a weekly basis, and I would encourage, if there's anything that you would be interested in or you feel would be good for the business, if you pop onto the events page, you can register your interest, register a place, and they're very good, they're very informative, and they're run by specialists. So I would encourage you to have a wee look, and they're free, as I said. So just popping back, as I say, we work closely with partner agencies, for example. Skills Development Scotland's another agency that we work very closely with. They can offer free business skills reviews, advice around the modern apprenticeship or the apprenticeship framework if you're looking to maybe take on staff. I suppose as well, another area which is quite useful is we are within the council. We're kind of, Business Gateway is part of West Dunbartonshire Council, and we can link in with other departments within the council. So we have, for example, if there's planning, the estates team, if you're looking for premises or looking to move locations, licensing and so on. So we tend to be the kind of port of call, I think, for local and kind of national services, if you like. So. And finally, just a quick overview of Digital Boost, if nobody's heard of it before. It's, again, a national programme. The view is really about getting businesses digitalised, and there's a whole range of free guides and resources that are on the Business Gateway website under the Digital Boost section, covering all areas that should be relevant and useful to a startup or growth business. Looking at things like if you're wanting to trade online, e-commerce, social media, developing a marketing strategy, email marketing and so on. Again, we offer free training webinars and online tutorials, and some of them are covered in the events section that I'd touched on earlier. But also we can access one-to-one support through a Digital Boost specialist, and we can provide up to 21 hours of free support with a digital specialist, if you like, to look at things like developing a online digital marketing strategy, or looking at improving your online operations, looking at everything that the business is doing digitally, and just coming up with recommendations on areas in which the business can make improvements. There's a range of podcasts as well that are all free on the website that you can access. Things like cybersecurity, which is quite essential for any business that's looking at trading or has an online presence, protection against hackers and so on. All really important stuff, and as I say, all free to access. And I've included the link there, just if anybody wants to have a look and get familiar with what's on offer. This information's updated regularly, and the events are updated on a regular basis. The only thing I would say about digital support is it is limited. We get access to so many places of consultancy time, but allocations renew into the new financial year. So probably after April, we'll have more allocation of this support. But if you're interested in any of that or anything else that I've touched on, happy if you want to get in touch with me. I can give you more information. I've passed my slides to Damon, so happy, Damon, if you want to share that with the group. And it's obviously got my contact details there as well, if anybody wants to get in touch. Thank you.
Fantastic. No, that's great, Elizabeth. A lot in there. And I feel sorry for Charlie because there's so much crossover that I think Charlie's not got a lot, but so much is relevant for both business gateways.
That's okay. We'll just move on. Just move on.
Yeah. So if you can stop sharing that point, Elizabeth, I'll sort of pass over to Charlie, which it may be. I'll try and share your slides that you've sent me, Charlie.
Thank you, Damon. Sorry, I had to log in through iPad, so I wasn't able to share them. So thank you.
So I'll pass over to you, and it might be as easy to skip over the bits that we've said. Look, we do this, and then fill the gaps where maybe where it differs. I guess would be the easiest way.
Yeah.
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah.
You just keep people happy, just far ahead.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, I think you're right, Elizabeth. I think a lot of the stuff, it's the same service. So we share a lot. We do a lot together, and similarly as well. While Damon's doing that, I'll just endorse what Lauren said, and I think you probably agree, Elizabeth. Find Business Support is becoming, I think, the go-to portal now, isn't it, for people to find out support that's available. And as Lauren's touched upon as well, if you can go in there and register for regular email updates. So any new funding that becomes available, even the local authority stuff that Elizabeth touched on now is on there as well. So I would certainly echo what Lauren said about that, to have a look at it, see what's available. But also importantly, just register for email updates. So Damon's doing his best to help me out here because I wasn't able to share my slides myself. So give you a minute or two, Damon, just to hopefully you can do that for me.
Give me a second.
Sure.
I'm finding it hard to find your presentation. I've got too many windows open at the moment. So if you can just sort of fire ahead, and I'll try and get your slides up in a sec.
I'll start reading them from here. Yeah. As Elizabeth touched upon as well, Business Gateway is a national service and it's delivered locally in all the local authority areas. We're here to encourage and support entrepreneurship in Scotland. So we deal with people starting their own business, and also those already running their own business and hopefully looking to grow. We're Dunbartonshire. Elizabeth covers West, I cover East Dunbartonshire. In East Dunbartonshire, there's a lot of micro businesses, a lot of people working from home. So they may be coming from, being employed, getting into self-employment for the first time. So hopefully we add some value in terms of what we can help them with. And again, as Elizabeth touched upon, a lot of the stuff we do is signposting. We do offer support ourselves, but a lot of our role is to pass people on to other agencies that can offer them additional support as well. And yes, all our services are fully subsidised or free. So yeah, we do what we can to just offer some free support that hopefully people can take advantage of. Next one, please, Damon. Thank you. So we have offices in Kirkintilloch and Mulgai, like most of the world. We've been working from home for the last couple of years, and that's still the case. But we can be about and go and meet people at their premises as well and see what we can do. As I said previously, we deal with startup businesses and existing ones looking to grow. There's a range of free online training events and workshops. We offer, in addition to the digital boost side of things, we've kind of offer some in-house digital support as well. One of my colleagues, Rebecca, is a kind of digital expert, so she has had quite a lot of success just helping small businesses with their social media, for example. Rebecca can sit down and have a chat with them and go through what their needs are and just offer some tips to help them. So it's obviously important, again, for micro businesses based at home, businesses offering services or offering goods online. So it's been a good resource that we can offer these businesses. Grant support, again, similar to West Dunbartonshire, £500 startup grant for startup businesses, and up to £1,500 growth grant for existing businesses where they're looking to have a new project, have some new equipment purchase, do some improvements to what they do. So again, we can help out with that. And the local expert help, again, as I touched on, a range of external consultants who we can fund their time, typically 2 or 3 days in the areas, similar areas like marketing, legal support. I have a client just now who we're working with who are looking to do a kind of offline strategy day for their staff. So again, we're going to bring in a consultant to deliver that for them. So we try and be innovative in terms of what we can provide. Who can we get in to provide these services to our client businesses? As I said as well, we do offer support ourselves, but we're also a signposting service. So as the name implies, we're a gateway to the public sector support that's available in Scotland. Elizabeth touched on some examples of those partner organisations who we worked with. And again, Skills Development Scotland, Supplier Development Programme, who can work with businesses looking to offer tendering to local authority services. So we're very much we are a business gateway. In fact, we can offer some support ourselves, but hopefully we can also pass you on to people who can offer a wider range of support. And our national programme, Digital Boost, which again Elizabeth touched upon, which runs in conjunction with what we do. Next one, please, Damon. Yeah, I think I've got last week's, Elizabeth, so you're ahead of me there. Yeah, again, just an example of the free business support webinars that we provide online. They are excellent. They're all free. They cover a huge range of topics. You'll see from my slide there and Elizabeth's slide together the kind of range of topics that these events cover. So again, yeah, definitely would recommend that you have a look at these, see what's available, and sign up. It's very easy to sign up as well through our website. You just drill down to the area we're based in. Sorry about that. You just log into the area you're based in, see what event you want to go on to, click onto it, and then there'll be a registration page. So yeah, I would encourage people to use that resource as much as possible. Next one, please, Damon. Yeah, so just a kind of breakdown of how our services are offered on our website itself, as well as providing links to the events, etc. There's a whole raft of information there tailored at both startup businesses and growing businesses. We have a tool called Planning to Start, which for one thing gets you registered with us and lets us help you one-to-one, but it also just gets you access to a whole range of resources like business planning resources, marketing guides. There's lots and lots of stuff on there. You could spend hours of fun just finding out everything that's available for you there. And again, it's all free resource. So I'll just encourage everyone to have a look and see what's available and just help yourself to as much of it as possible. Once you're at the stage of starting up, or if you're an existing business and you're looking for growth support, again, there's an ability through the website just to get in touch with us, with our local office, and we will follow that up to, with a phone call, just have a chat and see if we can sit down and help you further. And Digital Boost, Elizabeth went through in great detail what's on offer there. It's our kind of partner programme to improve the digital capability of your business, both through the programme of webinars and potentially one-to-one support as well. Next one, please, Damon. And that's me. Thank you very much. Hopefully, between myself and Elizabeth, we've covered Business Gateway, what we can do. And again, just to finish off, I would say I'll just echo Find Business Support as a great resource for the kind of full range of public sector support that might be available to you. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Charlie. That's great. Another load of really powerful information there, and with some sort of focus on the East as well. So no, there really are loads of resources for you and your clients to access there and add value. And I guess one thing we try and do is I think we use Find Business Support in every email that we send out. We always send all the Business Gateway events. So you guys will all be on our database. So look out for that when we do our monthly e-newsletters, because we try and capture that. And actually there's way more than just Find Business Support as well, because we trawl as much as we can and work with Scottish Chambers to find other opportunities like international trade and the like. So we try and do the work for the businesses, because there's only so much you can find yourself. But Find Business Support certainly a good starting point, I would say. So thanks for that, guys. Has anyone got any questions for Charlie before we move on? As I said, we'll connect you all with, make sure we've got access to all this, and you can kind of connect in, or just drop me a line and I can do a wee. I'm very good at doing my introductions to people, as most of you will know.
Damon, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
The online training, is it restricted to the area that you're based in, or can you go on some of the, because I've just looked at the trainings and some of the ones in Aberdeen look quite interesting, but obviously I'm not based up there.
You can access anything.
Right.
Yeah, you can register for any of the online stuff. Yeah.
Yep. That's I've been calling for this for about 5 years, to be honest, because it didn't make any sense used to have like 25 experts of differing sort of levels all over the country. Now we seem to have the real, the top experts in the country to deliver these. So I think it's COVID sort of moved that on quite a pace, I would say. So it's a really, there's not many positive outputs of COVID, but that is one of them, sort of thing. So no, some absolutely amazing resources there to tap into. So that's a good question. Thanks, Paul. Now, the way we've shaped this, we were going to come on to sort of more of the sort of financial side of things to share with you. So I was going to start with yourself, Mark, from DSL, if I can bring you in at that point.
Perfect. So my name's Mark. I'm one of the loan officers for DSL Business Finance. We are a CDFI, which is a community development finance institution. We are a not-for-profit, and we're based in Govan. We're about to enter our 30th year from August this year, so we've been around quite a while. We can lend our own funds, and we also lend funds that are either from Scottish Government, UK Government, or also from local councils that we work with as well, like Inverclyde and Falkirk. The kind of main funds that we have available at the moment, we are a delivery partner of the startup loan. So that allows anybody who's looking to start up a business to borrow up to £25,000. And it's a personal loan for business purposes. So what that means is if you have a business with multiple directors or a couple of partners, then both of them could both apply for up to 25,000. The whole point of the scheme is to help people who aren't able to get funding from their bank or from traditional lenders. It's priced at 6%. There's no fees or anything with it as a fixed rate. So I suppose in the current financial environment, again, a loan at 6% is pretty good. You're not going to get much better than that at this stage. So in terms of what you can do with that as well, it doesn't just need to be that you are basically taking that 25,000. Sometimes we will work with somebody has got maybe a little loan from the bank, and not all banks will do this, but they might want a 30% contribution, and certain banks will see the personal loan as their contribution. So you could do £25,000 from a startup loan, and then the bank might do 50,000. So we have the capacity to do that type of lending as well. In terms of the sectors, there's pretty much any type of business, and this may be another benefit that you don't get from maybe with your own bank, is that there's no sector restrictions. The only restriction they tend to have is, for example, if you were working from home and you wanted to refurbish your kind of outbuilding and make it into like a home office, they would see that as basically just enhancing your personal property. But out with that, you can pretty much do any sector for the startup loan. So that funding is still going to be available long term. So that the UK government are committed to that. So there will be announcements over the next few months, but essentially there will be a startup loan fund that will be here for the foreseeable future. The other loan fund that they can mainly manage just now is a Scottish government loan fund called the Digital Development Loan. You can borrow between 5,000 and 100,000, and it's at 0%, and there's no security and no personal guarantees. You can borrow up to 5 years. Now, it is in the too good to be true category, and that fund is due to end as it currently stands at the end of April. And by that means you would have to have your application approved by the end of April if you wanted to do it. So this is kind of a bit of a call out to let people know that the funding is still there. And if the people want to do it, what you would do is go into the Digital Development Loan website, you'd start your application. It has to be a digital project, and you need a quote from a supplier, but essentially you can cover so many different things. So I mean, recently worked with an accountancy firm who are digitizing all the processes just now under the Making Tax Digital, and a lot of their project was around making sure that all their staff's got all the hardware now to kind of manage everything digitally rather than dealing with paper. So putting in second screens, making sure people can work from home, and transforming all their paper stuff onto digital copies, making a client portal so that their customers can securely upload any documentation to them. Work for manufacturing companies just now, who the next thing that people are talking about, if anybody's heard of these things called cobots. So if you think about years ago, you might have seen on the TV of the kind of car factories, and you get these big arms that basically can be programmed to move heavy equipment or have tools put on them. Now these have essentially been miniaturized to the point where they're now going to be targeting SMEs with this, and the benefit is that you can essentially, for the same cost of as an employee, you could have a robot program that can do menial tasks and repetitive tasks. And the benefit to the business is then you don't have a member of staff doing a repetitive task all day, which is not really good for staff morale, and you can utilise them elsewhere. So there's so many things that you can do as part of the Digital Development Loan, and as I say, it is coming to an end, and as it stands, it's not going to be available beyond April. The other thing that's kind of just in the general funding landscape then is the British Business Bank, which also does a startup loan, and it's from the UK government. It's recently been announced in the press, so they have committed that there's going to be a new £150 million fund that will be announced, and it will kind of be around the September time is when it will be fully operational. Essentially, it's again to fill the gaps where the traditional lenders can lend within that space. Now, it will be charged at commercial rates, but there won't be any sector restrictions. It will have a greater risk appetite than what the banks will have. And it will be split up so that it does target smaller businesses, medium and larger businesses in a different way. So there'll be a loan fund. Part of it will be from 25,000 to 100,000. But then there'll be a part that will go for 100,000 to 2 million. And then there also will be an equity part, which will be up to 5 million. So it will kind of target the different market failures, is what they say, in different ways, so that that there is kind of more funding available. but that's still to be kind of ironed out and be announced, but around September. So there will be more funding available. In terms of the Scottish Government side, that everything's still up in the air just now. Certainly there's no budget, it appears, for a lot of the things that you might have heard of, like the Scottish Microfinance Fund, the Scottish Growth Scheme, which kind of helped smaller businesses in Scotland who couldn't get lending to the bank. And this is more like existing businesses, so where they don't fall into the kind of startup loan fund, but they can't really get money from the bank. There was this kind of solution in the middle. Just now, that's still been replaced, and it doesn't look as if there is anything in the pipeline just now. However, if I do hear anything, then I will share that at that time. But that's kind of where we're sitting at just now in terms of what's out there from the CDFI landscape at the moment, and I'll share the links with Damien so that you can send them on if anybody's interested and wants any more information.
Perfect. No, that's fantastic, Mark. Thank you very much. I think it's really important to give an update on what's out there, and obviously if we have anything from Mark and his team about any updates as they come through, because I think we've identified that next couple of months there will be more sort of coming out, as the budgets are kind of confirmed with through the UK and then the Scottish government's budget. So we'll be keeping a keen eye on that, and I'm sure Mark will cover us off for any financial and sort of grant or sort of loan opportunities. So no, that's really useful. Are there any questions before we move on there? No? Okay, well that ties in quite nicely with Stuart from Lochend Finance, actually, to provide a bit of a private sector input to sort of access to finance. So if I can bring you in, please, Stuart.
Yeah, sure. Thanks very much. So good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, said my name's Stuart Cruikshank, and I'm the managing director of Lochend Finance, which is an independent commercial finance brokerage. Operate across the whole UK, but we're based in Renfrewshire, just across the water. But our main operating areas are the central belt of Scotland. Give you a bit of background. I was 30 years in high street banking before leaving to start up my own business. Therefore, I've got a vast wealth of experience in helping support business owners and understand what lenders are typically looking for. So what does it mean being a commercial finance broker? So in short, I arrange finance for all types of business owners. These can be fairly small businesses turning over, say, 100,000 to those turning over £5–10 million plus. We support all types of businesses across all types of sectors. So how do we do this? So if you come to a broker like myself for funding, we have access to a number of lenders from whom we can access funds. It's a large amount of lenders. When I say large, it's like you're talking well over 100 lenders. And I'm quite sure, if we were to do a poll round the room, once you start getting into maybe 8–10 lenders that you can rhyme off the top of your head, you start to struggle. There are literally hundreds out there. These range from high street banks to challenger banks and a variety of other specialist and alternative funding providers. We also access to certain lenders who only deal via brokers, so you can't access those lenders directly. We have a good idea of which lenders are willing to support which types of businesses and which sectors, and that helps us sort of shape the funding request. And it's our job to find the right funder for your business. So how do we do this? Firstly, and I suppose our main objective is to find a lender or lenders willing to support your business and what you're actually looking to fund. Secondly, it's about finding that funding then at the best price, which is generally a combination of interest rate and any fees attached. And thirdly, it's obtaining the funds with the most appropriate set of conditions attached to the borrowing, which could mean conditions or covenants, as lenders like to call them, or security. So you might find there's a couple of offers on the table. One might be slightly higher in terms of fees and interest, but it might have less strings attached to the money. So therefore, that might be more appropriate based on your circumstances. So it's not always about the cheapest. Price is a hugely important factor, but firstly, it's about finding the funder generally who's willing to lend the money, and then dealing with the other aspects of that. And I work with the client to make sure that those terms are suitable for what you need. In order to do this, we carry out a fact find, understand the business, what its funded needs are, and then engage with a number of lenders on the client's behalf, saving the client a great deal of time and quite often potential stress as well, freeing them up to run their business. I can go out to multiple lenders, saving the client having to maybe engage with, quite often once they've engaged with one lender, they're struggling. They don't have the time to engage with 3, 4 or even 5 lenders. So what are the benefits of using a broker such as myself? Well, firstly, we're fully independent, not tied to any one lender, or we're not in any lender's pockets. If you approach a lender direct, you'll only get their lending appetite and the products that they have, which may or may not best suit your needs. We can access more than one lender in the marketplace at any one time. It would take an individual a great deal of time to go around multiple lenders to discuss what it is we're looking for, and how does a client know which lenders to approach that are going to be best suited for their needs. We're authorised and regulated by the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority, just as banks are and what have you, and also members of the National Association of Commercial Finance Brokers. They provide a compliance framework which we've got to obviously work with. So we are regulated. Most importantly, we act for the client, not the lender. We do not operate and represent or work for any lenders. We work for the client that's in front of us, and then we will engage with the lenders on their behalf. So as I said, saving a lot of time, stress, allowing these individuals to focus on the running of their business. So we specialise in what we do, freeing up the client to specialise in the day-to-day running of their core business. And they've got to deal with one point of contact. As I said, we speak to multiple lenders on their behalf. So what types of funding can I arrange? So basically anything, if it's legal and it's commercially viable, then we can quite often find a home for the borrowing. So do quite a lot of asset finance, which is typically hire purchase or leasing for clients who are buying vehicles, plant, equipment, machinery. If it's bright and yellow and sits on a building site, we can generally fund it. I've been funding quite a few, like 55 and 120 ton cranes recently for a company. So that type of thing is very good. Quite often we find that I can tap into rates and deals that are better than certainly you can get from, if you're looking for a car for your business and you walk into a car dealer, the rates there will generally be higher most of the time than what I can offer, unless there is some sort of very genuine special offer going on. And we quite often can get you better deals than you can get from the manufacturers of equipment as well. Commercial mortgages, another standard one. If somebody wants to buy their commercial premises, need a mortgage, or they want to invest in a commercial property that they're going to rent out. Invoice finance, so anything to do with cash flow finance, so people, typically for business to business, where the cash flow can have some pinch points, that might be the appropriate product for them or for growing businesses as well. We also deal with property development finance, so that could be anything from somebody refurbing a property to ground up developments. Funded 2 or 3 ground up developments in the last couple of years for residential, small scale sort of residential developers. We also deal with bridging loans, general business loans, and Mark's touched on some sort of government support schemes. So there have been things like the CBIL scheme and the recovery loan scheme, been involved in that as well. And we also support businesses who are importing and exporting. We do a bit of stock finance for some clients who are maybe bringing goods over from, say, Vietnam, China, wherever they may be doing it. And quite often there are cash flow pressures on those types of businesses in order to acquire the stock. So we work with people like that as well. But as I said, it could be a dental practice, it could be a pharmacy, it could be a care home, it could be a general builder, it could be someone who manufactures widgets. It really, as I said, we're sector agnostic. It really doesn't matter. just get to know that business and deal from there. That's really it for me. I mean, I'm happy to take any questions. I've put my website in the chat, so if you wanted to have a look in the website, you can see there summary of what we do. You know, some examples of deals that we've done for clients in recent months. And as I said, if anybody wants to have a chat, please let me out. I do work with some of the other guys within like Scottish Enterprise and Business Gateway across the country, because sometimes you find that, you know, as I said, when those clients come for a funding solution and needing to borrow money, it sometimes needs thrown across the fence to someone like myself to help those clients out. But I said, happy to take any questions and throw it back to the chair.
Have we got any burning questions there at all? I think that's some really yet again some really useful information. Lots of fantastic benefits. I see Stuart Anderson has his hand up there.
I'd like to ask Elizabeth if we can have a separate session regarding social enterprise sustainability. I've got a client in Centre 81 in Clydebank.
Great.
Hi, Stuart. Yes, happy to hook up with you afterwards if that's.
I just didn't pick up your email or contact.
Right.
So maybe you could send that to me.
I'll put it into the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Just now, no problem. Okay.
Fantastic. Paul, did I see you?
Yeah, just a quick question for Stuart. Stuart, do any of your lenders provide professional practice loans for solicitors or accountants who are looking to buy into firms?
Yeah, we can tap into that type of solution for clients. Yeah, absolutely, that's something we can certainly do.
Great, thanks.
Great. No, that's fantastic, and I think, you know, very much the way our network works. It's not always the person here, but it's through the 50 other people that they know and can help support. So I think it's very good to run these things and gather this information so that we can benefit our network. So thanks for that, Stuart. And that kind of brings me on to, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, Carla, being last. I'm going to say a good thing, because you're going to be a lasting memory with people. And we've just re-established a relationship with Carla coming on board with RBS. So they're doing some amazing work, which I'll let Carla tell you a bit more about now.
Yeah, thanks, Damon. I'm not quite sure the pressure of leaving the bank to the end when we're slightly overrunning, so I won't take too long, guys. But yeah, I just wanted to really come on. I'm just sharing my screen just now. If you can just, can you see that? Damon, does that come up wide enough?
Yeah, that's fine.
Perfect. Yeah, guys, so just you'll be happy to know it's not necessarily just all bank chat, but I just wanted to come on and introduce myself. So I'm Carla, I'm the Local Enterprise Manager for the Royal Bank of Scotland, and it was really just to give you a wee bit of an overview on what we do from a banking perspective, out with just your traditional kind of banking side of things. So we do a number of things just through the Royal Bank to basically support businesses looking to kind of grow scale. There's lots of things out there, and I think the guys have covered it greatly on the amount of sort of information that's available, but sometimes it's actually just kind of bringing it all together. So we offer a lot sort of online as well. We offer a business builder program. It's fully funded with the Royal Bank. It touches on a lot of the things the guys kind of mentioned before, but it's tailored for early stage businesses, and basically takes them through the kind of validation stages of their business, how to build it, how to grow, solid foundations, and basically just looking to kind of build up a bit of an online network. Everything is delivered online. There's a wee QR code there, so they can basically go on. There's a program fully online, 24/7. You can access it anytime. There's a library of sort of content on kind of building your business, how to kind of build profit and loss, and basically just how to kind of where to kind of start. So this is really tailored at the kind of start-up side of the business, and for them to sort of just look into kind of how do they actually get set up. We then so it's really, as I say, it's just targeted on kind of validating ideas, kind of business then shows entrepreneurial development, again, kind of helping them develop themselves at the same time as their business, and kind of growth strategies. So just actually what kind of availability, what sort of helps out there, and basically who can people kind of speak to. So that's their sort of online offering. And as I say, it's open to absolutely everybody, free of charge. You don't need to be a Royal Bank of Scotland customer. What we then do is we offer more of a sort of programme. So this is sort of gauged at our kind of higher accelerator businesses, so basically businesses that are looking to kind of grow and scale. So far over the last few years, we've supported more than 3,500 entrepreneurs, achieving average turnovers about 300,000, and we've helped them raise investments of about 198 million, and that's from angel investments, through funding investments, through grants, etc. So the accelerator programme, as I say, is open to entrepreneurs based in the UK, and it is really geared at businesses that are looking to kind of scale up. So your sort of higher growth businesses, you'll see there's a few on the slide here, sort of high growth industries, climate, your fintech, and sort of purpose on basically how do they build a sustainable business. So through the programme, it's a 6-month programme. You don't need to be a Royal Bank customer to come on, so you'll probably deal with a lot of people in your sort of network, whether it be accountants, solicitors, that know clients that are looking to scale up their business. We've had a lot of people come back to us who have actually ran successful businesses, but a lot of what we've touched on earlier, they're looking to maybe get into a different market, they're maybe looking to kind of digitalize their business, or just basically bring it up to what the world's looking at just now. So we offer one-to-one coaching sessions with an accelerator manager. So you would have a one-to-one kind of mentor coach that effectively helps you sort of guide how that business progression is going to go. We do leadership programs. So again, they're designed to sort of the community that we bring together. So within the accelerator programme, we cover things like leadership, about pitching for funding. We do how to kind of grow your business, how to scale your business, how to take on your first employee. So we cover a lot of stuff that actually come into the kind of fundamentals on actually what is the difference between growing your business and how do you scale your business successfully. So we've got partners, we've got mentorships, that's partners within the kind of corporate accelerator world. So within the bank, we've got corporate managers, we've got our wealth managers, and also other entrepreneurs that have been through the programme. So we also offer shared workspace as well. So basically we have an office in Glasgow, which is where I am at Queen Street. So there's space, Damon was up last week to have a wee look around. So there's space for entrepreneurs to basically come in and run their business from our offices. There's no charge whatsoever. We also offer the same in Edinburgh in the St Andrews Square office. And there's 12 down south, so there's 14 in total across the whole of the UK. So it's open to basically any business that's looking to grow and scale. We take on a cohort twice a year, so around about 50 new businesses will come on and work with us within the space. It's a 6-month programme, but effectively they can stay on the programme for up to 18 months, which basically allows them to, some people come and do it back to back, some people come and do the initial programme, they go away, they build on the stuff that they've learned, and then they come back into the programme. We've got a guy starting who's been out of the business for 3 years, and he's basically coming back into the cohort because he's managed to build up a pretty successful business, but he's looking to see actually how does that grow and scale even further. So just if anyone is looking for any other information and wants to pick up anything with me, as I say, it's fully funded, that you do not need to be a Royal Bank customer to join, and you certainly don't need to be to have a conversation with myself, but it's a great thing, and I think it's just an example of what else the bank can do other than just your traditional kind of funding accounts. Actually, it's really kind of helping businesses on how do they grow and scale, and how do we actually work all together with a lot of the people that are on the call and sort of point people in the direction of what help there is available out there, and actually how does it work within their business, rather than just a sort of here's a whole host of information that you can have. We sort of try and tailor it and sort of work with them through growing that growth and scale stage. So yeah, I've got my email on the next slide. I'm more than happy for Damon to share my email address out. I think I've picked up with a few of these actually just over the last few weeks, but yeah, it would be great just to see on what we can do. We have a recruitment process for an accelerator programme just now, so it closes on the 17th of February with it starting on the 13th of March, but there will be another programme starting at the end of the year around about September time as well. So if anybody wants to reach out, get any more information, then please just give me a wee shout.
Thanks, Cara.